start with the pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Dave May.
Here.
Proxy for JJ, Attorney Spence. Here. Aaron Martin. Here. All present. Next on your agenda. Due to the fact that you were here for 20 minutes, we can have a bring JJ back next meeting.
Okay. First item on the update from our attorney on the Boone Township referendum.
Yes. Good afternoon, election board members. By way of an update, as you recall, at your last few meetings, there's been discussions regarding the Metropolitan School District of Boone Township and its effort to present a question for a referendum in the primary election in May of this year. Since your last meeting, the school district has proceeded forward with the statutory process to have that question submitted. And specifically, they've been in contact with the Department of Local Government and Finance, who has approved the proposed question, which will read as follows. For the 7 calendar years immediately following the holding of the referendum, shall the Metropolitan School District of Boone Township impose a property tax rate that does not exceed 21 cents of each $100 of assessed valuation, and that is in addition to all the property taxes levied and imposed by the school corporation. I'm in receipt of documentation from the Department of Local Government and Finance approving that proposed question, which is consistent with the statute, was forwarded on to the Circuit Court and on to you. At this point in time, although I think that in essence you basically did this at your last meeting, it would be appropriate for you to acknowledge receipt of the question and certify it. So I would ask you to make a motion along those lines this afternoon.
All in favor of approving and certifying the Boone Township referendum question? Is there anything else? Next item is the update on polling location change, which we still
The Bethel Nazarene Church is no longer able to host us as a polling location. As you know, churches don't have to have us. They had a daycare change. It's something that we did or that they did. Their daycare taking over the portion where we used to go there. Kathy and I did go look at the Emmanuel Lutheran Church, which is less than a mile from the Valparaiso Nazarene Church. They are more than willing and more than able to host us for the elections for the future. They have more than enough space, more than enough parking. It is on the commissioners have to approve the polling locations by law. Maybe you guys were, because you are the election board. But it is on their next agenda for the Tuesday, their next Tuesday meeting, and there's no reason for it not to be. Yeah, there's a precinct there already, so they're just going to take on the other precinct that was the Center 5, 22, and 27.
Which means we still
It's not the Tuesday next, the third Tuesday of this month. 18th.
I think the state law is very clear that any change of the voting location has to be made. I have absolutely no objection to the case, we're going to take what's here, but if I can be subject to state law and changing location.
And we're, at least I'm aware that, the concern was just, again, I'm not sure what this name, the location where the car in the camp was. So, that would pick up the next meeting, if there is need to be
Well, there is nothing just affect one location, it also affects the Portage location. Due to the fact that I have an office right there where voting takes place, the commissioners have also, requested that the health department, that area. So it's not one area, it's not just South Raisa, it's the Portage office also, where we have in the annex. So it's not specific to this location, so I think those issues can be addressed at the same time. That would mean I would have to go to the office for 30 days. That might be happy, but.
Sure. I think that's the only issue that we are concerned with at this time. Is there any other issues that we have?
Sorry.
Yes.
I know, like with our polling locations, it has to be done during the for the elections, so it's approved by April 7th for any polling location changes. Anything that says that it has to be done by a certain date, so satellite votes. I mean, obviously, we have to do it before satellite voting starts on April 8th. So it's not something that, I mean, JJ is back on the 24th, so we're gonna have to, get it done right away.
Well, that also brings up another issue, and the fact that it might be, an opportune time to open a fourth satellite location in South County. Last election was one of the elections that we opened North County. Previously, we only had Valparaiso and Portage. But I think that the location just in North County, was a wonderful decision, and I think that we should be mindful of South County and also the satellite location of South County.
Do you have a location?
Well, until this board made a recommendation that it went into Portage. Would that be possible to have some locations checked out and put on the agenda for the next meeting when we can?
Just really quickly looking at the statute, if you look at 311-1026, A 1 and 2, the statute states that after details can be placed at one location of the office of the clerk or clerk, designated by the clerk or clerk, which I'm assuming all of the clerks are in that designation. A, satellite office established under 26. So my concern, and I'm sure Jay's concern as well, is that we are now going to establish two locations with the municipal registration as one, and then the second one will be open at the South County office.
I think for clarification purposes, the 30 days prior to for, absentee voting is normally, held at two locations. At the previous election, we already approved North County, we're just adding an addition.
Right, but the statute is clear. One location is in the clerk of court and the clerk of court office, which Portage, my understanding was, because you're placing the votes in the hallway outside the county clerk there, traffic. Then we have board of registration who have been there. My interpretation would be, would that be the satellite office established under, 26.3, and it's only a office. And I'm sure JJ will agree with me as well, that if you open up the South County
I guess there were a couple concerns, but I think it's kind of
The next item then is the absentee voting information. Which is what?
with reference to the offices, with reference to finance, with reference to
Finance, storage of machines.
JJ asked me to use his documentation, but, in order for, to contact me, we needed that, we have to use that. We're gonna work, the documentation that I passed out. JJ had previously requested information with reference to the, machines, they're all the way in the orange in the back. This is a detailed listing as to what, needed to be done for maintenance of machines. Now I have a packet of pink paper this large, and what we did was we put it on an Excel spreadsheet in detail between the auto marks as well as the M100 diagnostics. We had a couple, dead batteries that needed to be replaced. We had a couple motherboards that needed to be replaced. There were one or two, maybe, pieces that left on that caused the dead battery issue. There were some screen changes and some scanning bars, and inverters that needed to change on the auto market. So this is a complete, information with reference to all the equipment that now we have in this work area. If you go to, the next has to do with information from the cost savings that can be held for the election board to purchase equipment. In the purple area is all the information from the 2010 primary and general, and the blue area is all the 2012. You go to the green area, and the first Excel spreadsheet breaks down as to these workers. And unbeknownst to most individuals, and until we started doing some research with reference to this, we use the same amount of people on the general election, which has 64% voting in the 2012 as opposed to the primary election, which has a 21% turnout, which means we have almost 3 times as many people working, which is not necessary. In actuality, we had 494 voters in Boone 1, 3, and 5 for the primary, and we had 2 judges, 2 inspectors, 4 judges, and 6 clerks. In the general election, we had 64%, which was 1,507, and we had the same amount of people, which means for 494 people and 1,507 people, we have the same amount of workers, which does not make sense in the overall picture. So if we were to reduce some of the proposed boards, we could be saving with one election alone over $20,000. I think the total amount was $20,755. That's part one of the scenario. In order to find some money, as you know, previously we had a presentation given to us for the e-poll books as well as the on-ballot printers. The on-ballot printers would be as used as necessary. Part two of the scenario, if you work past that, in the green section still, the next area would have to do with the election registered voters. For 2010, we had 104,000 registered voters. We ordered 75,000, which was 73% of the total. We had 15,891 voters, which meant we wasted 59,709, which is a cost of $18,000. For the 2010 and 2012 total primary and general, we have wasted $84,974 on ballots. That's over $100,000. Now we are looking to make sure that the county is working to a standard that is acceptable and working to a standard that is credible. So these issues need to be addressed, especially at a point in time when the council is $5 million. I personally, at a clerk level, within the last 3 years, I returned to the general fund over $250,000. This is an area I think that we need to address. Behind that there are the quotes reference to the e-poll books and the printers, depending on location and what's decided at our next area, or our next meeting, there's a possibility that we could have a printer at each location for an annual cost of $7,216, which would mean that if an individual came to vote with the e-poll book and they used the information, the ballot for that specific area would automatically be printed. That would mean we would not have that area that we are giving people the wrong ballot for the wrong precincts, because that does happen. We all know that. And we need to make sure that these areas are complied with, and we need to make sure that we give them the best possible voting experience in Porter County that's available. With reference to the e-poll books, you would scan a license itself. It brings up the information. They would have a signing area. That information would upload automatically to the system to show the voters, so that the count would automatically be there. We wouldn't have to worry about this number not complying with this number. And we could look at as little as 10 to start off to try the process instead of going full. And I'm suggesting that we look at this in detail, give the facts under some guidelines here, and make our understand. But I wanted to submit that to you with reference to the other areas. At the beginning of I wanted to remind you of the election administrator's manual and some of the election board's responsibilities prior to the red section. And then the red section has responsibilities of the clerk as well as the election responsibilities that the clerk assumes and has. Otherwise, I don't have this whole packet.
What's the deadline for approval of getting the
Well, unfortunately, the council has canceled their March meeting, but I'm looking at other areas where we might be able to acquire the funding, and I will know by Monday. So we will either need to have a vote in a direction to proceed with this type of the new way to voting. So I personally would make a motion that it be dependent on funding, but that we look at approving the overall concept with reference to the Ballotard voting printer ballot, as well as the poll books.
when we have information? We did a short term meeting this week.
I should have it, I should have it in the next 5 minutes. Because it's coming out of the and if I talk to state board of accounts, possibly some of the improvements, some of the equipment that we're buying, we fall into those concepts. We will not be able to do the council do this after next meeting. So we're gonna either have to be able, through state board of account, take it through our budget, approve it through our budget, or go through the other sources.
Because we have to start mailing absentee ballots by the 23rd. The 22nd, which is Saturday, but we won't mail them out until the Monday after.
Well, unfortunately, we did is I looked at another source, and they're checking out the availability of the funds. And if that doesn't work, then I'm going to State Board of Accounts Monday, Tuesday to find out what we can do within that line item to make sure that this is available. So by Friday, we should know which source we're looking at.
So next, CMOD meeting on March 14th.
I have a question on the polling location changes that you're proposing for the primary. If, in every piece of literature that I've read on polling location, it names the building and an address. It does not say which room within that building you're gonna vote in. On the two that you proposed change, the one for here and the one for North Porter County Complex, you're still voting in the same location, just a different room within that location. So if you're really looking at a location situation, you're really not changing the location from a voter's standpoint. They're going to go to the exact same building, they're just going down the hall a few feet. And that could occur within any one of the voter locations that you have today. In other words, if, for example, the Presbyterian Church says, that room's not available, you're gonna vote in the room next door, does that invalidate that change? Because it's in the same location, it's just a different room. And that's a to me, it's a no-brainer, but I'm not a legal person. But to me, you're not really changing the location when you just change the room to a room down the hall. Now, as far as opening up the south, an additional one, I agree, that is a question because you've not had it opened up in the past. But as far as the location change in this building and the one up north, you also have another conflicting law. The fact that a candidate cannot be present in a voting location other than casting a vote. And in this case, you have the potential with the clerk's office in North Porter County, if Karen is up there working that day, she would be in the voter location, which would be a violation of the law. Or in the case here, if Kathy's in the office, she's in a voter location, which is in violation of the law. So moving those out of those rooms helps you satisfy that law, and I don't think detrimentally penalizes the voters for changing of the room just a few feet away.
Right, that would be something that would be addressed, but, sir, if you want, I could send you a copy of the state statute, because what you brought up is like a many-fold type of question.
Right.
What we were talking about is the absentee ballot location,
Right.
which state statute is very clear on that.
That's where it's stored at, right?
No,
Where
where you
it's
can
cast
come
at?
and do your early voting.
Well, then in that case, we've been in violation for years. If you really want to take it to the law, and you could throw out every election that has been that way for the last several years.
Well, you can't throw out every election because they've been certified by the clerk.
Well, I know that, but technically you could go back and challenge that, and I realize I'm not a lawyer, but that's.
I understand, we'll review it if you want, I would be more than happy to send you the state statute that I referred to, but,
Okay.
Getting back to your question, you talked about absentee ballot votes, you talked about then the general election polling places, and then the third thing you talked about is, I guess, the.
Presence of a
Right.
candidate in the voting
Right.
location.
But then, are you, are these people doing their job, or are you concerned about
I don't wanna prevent anybody from doing their job, and by moving the polling place, that does not prevent them from moving things, and you're not moving it that far away. I mean, it's not as if you're actually taking them to a different building.
Well, and I think in reference to his contention, I think, Indiana Code 3-11-815 specifically states, if I'm not wrong, that A, the chairman or vice chairman may be present in a polling place with proper credentials, except when the county chairman or vice chairman is a candidate at the election. And that was in the 2013 Indiana election legislative summary. So I think that addresses the fact that we cannot have it in voters registration due to the fact that we do not want an area where there is a candidate, and Indiana Code specifically states in here, I think it's B, 3-11-815, 12B, that except for candidates, and she is a candidate who that cannot be a polling place.
We'll take that up.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I appreciate what he's saying, but moving a polling place in a church from room A to B is different than establishing an early voting location established by the election board. It has to be a satellite office of the clerk. So, I mean, you're talking apples and oranges and stuff. In regards to Ms. Kazulik being in office, I mean, it clearly states that you can't do any electioneering under the code 3-11-10-26.3. So the fact of the matter is that she's in there campaigning, then the bottom line of it is that she's in violation, which that's not gonna happen. That is not gonna happen. So she can be in there, and if you really wanted to get down to it, what would prevent her from walking down the hall to that room and standing outside there, outside the 50-foot chute, and welcoming voters and saying, listen, I'm Kathy Kazuzik, I'm running for clerk. So whether you move it down the hall or in the voter registration office is kind of an apples-orange issue. The other side of it too is, when you have a voter go in there, and anybody been an inspector on the election board?
Yes, sir.
I have too. You ever had anybody come in there that's in the wrong precinct, or has been purged, or remarried and their name's changed or anything like this? You have to go look all this stuff up. So the bottom line of it is that if you have to leave that room, you have a long line, you gotta run down to the voter's registration office. Okay? They have the system online, and they're gonna pull all that stuff up. That leaves you shorthanded. So in other words, if you're gonna move it down to that other room, you're gonna have to hire more people, just to maintain order and make sure the line is flowing correctly. So I think moving it down the hallway is a violation due to the fact that it's not, that room cannot be considered a satellite office of clerk. Simply put.
And we'd also have to eliminate Chesterton.
You should take that under advisement and take a look at that.
As an early voter.
You should take that under advisement and take a look at it, because you're correct. I agree with you.
I guess my concern is why JP didn't have an issue with it last year, or with the last election we did in Chesterton. And why these issues weren't brought up then. If I either attorney had to flip or.
Maybe they felt comfortable with it.
Well, my point is, if they felt comfortable with it then, what's the issue now?
The issue is basically you're moving it down to a location that basically is not your part of your satellite office. The voter registration is considered part of your office. This room is, with Packados, is not part of your office.
So you're saying voters registration is part of the clerk's office, is what you're saying?
Election board has jurisdiction over voter registration office,
Thank you very much.
except the employees. I have jurisdiction over my Democratic employees, and the Republican chairman has jurisdiction over his employees.
They're all county government employees.
But they work under my behest, and I can cite that statute if you'd like to.
No, that's fine.
One point, as serving as an inspector, you never left the polling place. Basically, when a voter came in and there was a question as to whether they were eligible to vote or whether the address was correct in the poll book, you picked up the phone and called voter registration. That's no different than what you could do right today, is pick up the phone, call down the hall, get the answer that you need, and have the answer for you as an inspector. It would be the same situation.
You wouldn't have to, I mean, all of our satellite voting locations, you guys have all early voted before, they have our computers in, like, we have a computer set up in Portage, a computer set up in Chesterton, that has access to our state system to look up voters. So they wouldn't have to go down the hall, nobody would have to make phone calls, it's just, we have to have IT